Okay. Okay. My favorite hobby, I would have to say, would be sewing. My freshman year of college, I started sewing. Yeah. Well, what made me start sewing was my Miss Corbett. She's like a mother to me in some ways. I don't know, she's just been very inspirational, and she knows how to sew. And one day, I was laying in bed, and it was my senior prom, and I was like, I want to make my prom dress, because I hadn't found a prom dress yet, and like I had like a week before prom started, and so I was like, I want to make it. So I called her, and I was like, what are you doing? Let's make my prom dress. And like, she's always down for my grandiose ideas. I'm like the person, what would you call it? Like if you, like the idealist, like I just find like random stuff to do. And then she's like the reality of it all. You know what I mean? Like she's like, okay, well, Victoria, like you're wanting to do this, but you have a week and this is a lot of work. And by then I hadn't started sewing yet, but I've always been like creative and I like to make stuff. I was looking through these old pictures, and when I was little, I guess I used to like think I was a designer or something. And I remember this. I had this blue sweater, and I had a hot glue gun, and I hot glued like pennies and like broken watches onto the shirt, and I thought I was making something. But so I guess maybe it's always been in me, but I just didn't start doing it until later. But she was down with it, and we did it, and we like wrapped me all up in it, and it really turned out really nice, and I loved it. It was like my favorite thing. Sewing makes me feel accomplished. It gives me a joy that I can't find from anywhere else, and I like that because I don't want someone else to make me happy. I like making myself happy. I do sew my clothes, but it makes me kind of timid because I would like to make sure things are perfect yet. And I'm kind of like in my opinion, I'm in the beginning stages. But I mean, I've made a lot of stuff that would seem difficult, but I mostly make them for like my friends and stuff. They just buy the fabric and then I'll make it, and then it's like more practice for me. And then plus, I'm not using all my money at the same time. It makes me feel really great that like, I don't know, other people actually like my stuff enough to pay for it. Some days, like, I'll be in class and not paying attention because that's what I do best. And I'll just doodle stuff that I want to make, you know, and I'll think about it, and then I'll be like, okay, time to go to Joann's. Or I'll go to Joann's and just look at all the fabric and literally touch, like, every piece of fabric and then think, like, what can I make with this? But in the end, before I actually sit down to cut, I have to like draw it out, and then I have to draw where all my seams are going to be and like all the separate pieces that I have to cut so that I'm not like just making a hodgepodge of stuff. I do see a future with it, but I don't really know if I want it to go into like mass production or if I just want to keep it like handmade, tailored things. It would be called Raja del Sol, and that is two languages put together, but Raja means king and del Sol means of the sun. Freshman year, my boyfriend passed away, and we had like this really big like vision of like making a clothing line together, and I was gonna sew it all, but I was gonna focus on like the girls part, and then he was gonna like design it all. So I put it all together and I made it King of the Sun, which is really just like what he was to me. I don't know, I had to think of how he was like just so like important to me. He was like my sunshine. His name actually means king, so I put it all together and I made it King of the Sun, which is really just like what he was to me.